How? People spend decades trying to get to 2000 in chess. What nobody tells you is that 2000 players are not that good. To get to this level, you only really need knowledge of three things: openings, positional play, and tactics. In this video, I'm going to take you through all three of these things and then we'll put it together. First, positional play. There's this nice acronym I like to use, WPERK: weaknesses, pieces, resources, and king position. Let's practice using this position. Now, first we want to look at the weaknesses. We can see these weaknesses on d5 and f5. The f5 weakness can be covered by g6. Before we go any further, let's look at the weaknesses in our own position. We have matching weaknesses on d4 and f4. Luckily for us, our bishop covers both of these squares. So we've looked at the weaknesses in the position, and before formulating any more plans, we should consider the second part of WPERK, which is the pieces. All of our pieces are positioned quite actively, so nothing to worry about there. Black has this bad dark squared bishop. He can try to free it with a move like f6. And of course, there's always d5. The third part, which is resources, refers primarily to tactics. After a cursory inspection of the position, we can see there's this alignment on the d file, but nothing else really. Finally, the last part, K for king position, and both kings appear quite safe. Now, based on all of this, our move is probably going to stem from the weaknesses in the position and piece placement. Our knight would obviously love to go to d5, but the enemy knight would just chop it off. Knowing that, we can actually trade our dark square bishop for this knight, and then we can get this knight in the center of the board, and the d6 pawn is permanently weak and backward, while his bishop is also going to be stuck. Now, openings. A lot of masters will tell you you don't need to learn openings, and yada yada yada. The truth is that having a good opening can and will make you play better chess. Playing something to your style is obviously going to help you. And the issue is that there are a lot of options to choose from. I'm going to give you a couple of recommendations here. For an aggressive player, the Jobaba London is easy to play and aggressive. The Queen's Gambit is a powerful positional weapon, which can be used to punish unprincipled play, although it's maybe not as aggressive as some others. Now there's the Ruy Lopez, which is maybe a little bit of a balance, which is a mix of strategic and aggressive ideas and leads to a lot of different positions. The cons are that it can require a ton of memorization. For the black side, my recommendations are the Sicilian Defense, which is a sharp and aggressive opening, although you have to remember that white has a lot of play too, and of course there's a lot of memorizing. The King's Indian Defense is a very sharp and aggressive opening where black goes for the king. The issue, of course, is that white does have a lot of counterplay, and if you look at the computer, is slightly better. Now these are only some general recommendations. There are a lot of different openings you can play, including e5 and d5. And as long as you understand the plans and ideas, you'll be fine. Again, just pick an opening that suits you. Anything from the French to the Caro-Kann is just fine, as long as it's sound and offers you play, and you understand the ideas. Tactics. Even at the 2000 level, they decide a ton of games. However, there are a couple things you need to remember. Opponents aren't going to blunder simple tactics, but they still may be how a lot of games are decided. Now, the fundamentals of tactics, they're caused by open positions and weak and hanging pieces. You can improve them by solving puzzles like this one. Lichess has great free puzzles, so not having Chess.com Premium is not an excuse. Now, tactics will result from playing well and applying positional pressure at the 2000 level. The way to improve them is, again, do more puzzles and keep an eye out for them. If you're not training yourself to see them every game, every time you make a move, you're not going to find them. And this kind of habit building will help you not only in puzzles, not only in chess, but in everything in life. Now let's put all of this together in a game. Let's put all of this together now. We begin the game. I play e4, he plays e6. This is the beginning of the French defense. I play d4, and my opponent plays something a little strange already, g6. I don't know this move, and I'm not sure if it's good, so I just play principled chess. Bishop d3, developing a piece. Bishop g7, and I go c3, trying to blunt this diagonal from the enemy bishop. He goes h6, preventing my bishop from going to g5, but also wasting time because my bishop wasn't going to go there anyways. I go knight e2, developing a piece, and the reason I play knight e2 instead of knight f3 is because after knight f3, I no longer have this idea f4, whereas in this line, I can play f4 in the future. Opponent plays g6, trying for this double bishop setup. I castle, and bishop g6. My opponent is underdeveloped, so I go to open up the position f4. Idea is f5, opening things up. And here my opponent makes a critical mistake. He plays h6, a6. And the idea of the move is obviously to stop my bishop from coming to b5, but I was never going to play bishop b5 anyways. It's just a useless move and also hangs a pawn in the center. Because of this, my opponent just wasted time, and I can open things up. f5. g5. This weakens light squares around the king, so I can maybe put my knight and queen there, or even bishop in some cases. That's exactly what I do. Knight g3. Queen e7. Already there's ideas of f6, although right now it would just hang a pawn. It can be useful later. I considered knight h5, threatening f6, which is a good move. The bishop would probably drop back, and then I would play f6. And I wasn't sure if I was winning there. The next move that I considered was e5. e5 threatens f6 with a fork, so my opponent's probably going to have to take and allow all my pieces in to this f7 square and the f-file. I go e5, he takes, I take, queen f8 to protect the bishop, and of course, I'm not going to take this bishop because I know positionally my knight is doing a lot more than his bishop, right? I have these weaknesses to work with, and because he's so undeveloped and his king is so weak, there are definitely going to be some tactics to work with. I play bishop c4, setting my sights on the f-pawn. And he plays knight e7, after which I am just winning the game. Because I can take this knight, he's going to take back with his queen, and I'm just going to take the f-pawn with a fork. If he takes with his king, it's also a fork. Knight takes e7, queen takes e7, and rook takes f7. I'm going to be picking up the bishop, or what my opponent does is he takes the rook, sacrificing his queen. I take back, and he takes back his king. It's important not to get complacent here. There's still some play left, even though I am up a bit of material. Queen h5, making sure the king stays uncomfortable. King e6, king e7, queen g6, threatening the bishop, and there's some fun lines. If, say, bishop f8, I have queen f6 picking up a rook, so my opponent has to block with rook g8. I go knight d2, knight c6, and knight e4, taking advantage of these squares in the center. There's some weaknesses still on f5 and d5, although it doesn't seem like I'll be able to get there. The big weakness is here on f6. On this square, my knight will be ruling over the board, and I'll probably end up just forcing some trades for it, which is definitely good because of how much material I'm up. Rook f8, knight f6. If my opponent takes, I'll recapture with my pawn with check. It's important to notice that because otherwise bishop takes f8, bishop takes f6 would just win a piece because my queen is under attack. Bishop takes f6, queen is under attack, but I can recapture with this pawn, check, king f8, and I take another free pawn. Rook f7, really trying to stop this pawn. Bishop takes g5, king c8, rook e7, taking control of the file. And from here the game is already over. Knight c8, knight d8, my opponent is running out of things to do. Rook e7, and I just place enough pressure that my opponent collapses, and eventually I start pushing this h-pawn. The opponent is already so invested in this f-pawn, he can't possibly stop another one, and that is exactly how I win the game. I promote this pawn, win his rook, and from there it ends quite simply. In a lot of ways, this video is only a brief overview of the skills you need to reach 2000. If it does well, I'll upload more detailed videos on each of the skills referenced in this video. Until then, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. Bye.